My goal in this video is to get the Platinum Trophy for Assassin's Creed Valhalla in under 80 hours. And just for the people who aren't aware, Assassin's Creed Valhalla's Platinum Trophy takes upwards of 100 to 150 hours to do, sometimes even 200. And the fastest I've seen it done was 82 hours and 52 minutes, which is why I chose to try and do it in under 80 hours. In order to get the Platinum Trophy, we need to complete the egregious storyline that takes around 50 hours itself to complete. We also need to get over 700 collectibles, fight multiple different bosses, and even play some dice. Oh yeah, and by the way, if I don't platinum the game in under 80 hours, I gotta squeeze this lemon into my eyes. So yeah, we better lock in, cuh. Why did I say cuh? What the Alright. Oh man, we are in the start of our grind. I am not excited whatsoever. Also, literally every other YouTuber that has platinum this game and made a video on it has literally hated it. First thing I do when I open the game for the first time is choose the combat difficulty, and I went ahead and I chose the default difficulty because I'm not trying to make this grind any more harder. We start off as a young Ivor, who is our main protagonist of the game, and I cannot make this up. Literally the first thing I do when I start moving as Ivor is I start wasting time by dancing. I mean, like, you cannot make this up. You guys will notice later on that I do a lot of things that just waste unnecessary time. We end up getting raided by Kajovi the Cruel, which I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but we're just gonna go with it. And I'm not gonna lie, Kajovi's kind of a badass. Surely he's the main villain of the game, right? He ends up killing our father, but we end up making the escape, and then we also get attacked by a wolf, which then leads to our first trophy for completing the prologue. About an hour and a half in, we take on our first boss fight, and it's Kajovi the Cruel, which is kind of disappointing because I for sure thought he was about to be the main villain, and it turns out he's literally the first one to kill. Hour 2, we basically get kicked out of Norway by King Harold, so we decided to go to England and settle there, which then unlocks another trophy for leaving Norway and going to England. We make it to England and we kick some jabronis out of our camp to settle, which then becomes our home for the near future. During hour 3, we do our first raid of many that we will have to do later on for the Platinum Trophy, but for now we get a basic tutorial of how the raid system works. All we have to do to complete a raid is steal all the supplies, and those supplies will be used to upgrade our settlement, which later on we have to fully max out for the Platinum, so making sure we get as much supplies as we possibly can during these raids are very important to save some time, which once we complete the raid, we unlock the trophy for completing our first raid. Also during this hour, we start the Grantham Bridge arc, which I don't know if that's how you say it, but I don't really care because I'm just going to say it how I feel like it sounds like, if I'm going to be honest. Hour 4, I went ahead and I did another raid while I was on the way to a story mission. I also went ahead and upgraded my bow and equipped an ability that lets me shoot 3 arrows instead of 1. And if there's one thing I wish I knew when I started this game, it would be that the bow is so freaking overpowered. Later on, you guys will see that most of the time when I take out bosses, it's literally with a bow. It's like insanely overpowered. But for the rest of the hour, we just continue with the rest of the Grantham Bridge arc. A little bit before hour 5, I decided to upgrade some of my armor and use some of my skill points to work towards that charged shot ability, which I will show off later because it's insanely overpowered. Went ahead and did another raid while on my way to another mission just to get it out of the way. Then we had to go do another raid as part of the main storyline, and we are tasked with assassinating someone during that raid. And once we complete that, we unlock another trophy for completing that arc. We head back to report to Ronvi about Granthambridgeshire and decide to pledge to Leicestershire. I mean, seriously, what are with these complicated names? Why can't they be named like Chicago or something normal? But anyways, after we pledge there, we go ahead and build a barracks so we can recruit Yom's Vikings, which are just Vikings that help us during raids. I decided to customize one and give him a cool glowy shield and axe and unlock another trophy for customizing him. For the rest of the hour, I did another raid while working my way towards the new region. I also upgraded a few things in my skill tree, and once I got to the new region, I synchronized so I can fast travel here later, and then we started the Leicestershire arc to conclude my 5th hour. In hour 6, nothing really interesting happens. All I'm trying to do is finish each mission for this arc as quick and efficiently as possible. My goal is to complete the main story in at least 30 hours or less, and honestly, if we can do that, then I'm very confident I can do this in under 80 hours. And it's safe to say during hour 7, my confidence diminished a little bit. We were tasked with capturing Lady Aedleswith. She runs away from us and gets on a boat and sails away so we can chase her with our boat. But we run into a problem where she jumped in the water. Now the issue with her being in the water is I cannot tie her up and capture her until she reaches shore. And for about 8 minutes I was swimming after her in the water trying to direct her to shore so I can capture her. So instead I decided to reload a save and try again. This time we do everything right and do it in about 4 minutes. And stuff like this is what could be detrimental to getting this platinum in under 80 hours. We literally spent 20 minutes on a section of a mission that's only supposed to take 5 minutes. And so this left me really frustrated and worried. During hour 8, we go back to the base so I can find some missions to do because I was honestly confused on where to go next. I ended up building the Hidden Ones Bureau, which will become important later on. Hytham also gives us a quest, but I decided not to do it. I end up going on something called a river raid thinking that it's a part of a main quest line. Spoiler alert, it's not, and I wasted about 10 minutes doing that. Once I come back from the river raid, I build a few more things in my settlement, like the bakery, which gives me an increase in my health, and then I also lock a trophy for reaching settlement level 3. We also attend a dinner and kick the asses of 2 drunks to end off hour 8. In the beginning of hour 9, we aren't off to a hot start. I ended up having to reload a save because the mission I was on glitched out, and so basically we had to replay another 10 minutes of that mission because of the glitch. I also ended up using some of my skill points and changing some of my gear, and near the end of hour 9, we are about to finish the East Anglia arc. We went ahead and attacked Rude's castle, which then we got into a boss fight with him, and I was honestly very close to dying, but we somehow pulled through and finished that mission to end hour 9. We only had one more mission in the East Anglia arc, and that was to go to a wedding. In hour 10, we head back and finish the final quest in the East Anglia arc, which it literally wasn't even a quest. It was just some cutscenes that I skipped because I really don't care about the story. I mean, we are literally trying to finish this game as quick as possible and not watch a movie. But once we finish the final quest, we get a trophy for finishing the East Anglia arc. I also decided to mainly focus on upgrading my range damage, especially because of how much I use my bow. I think it would make fighting bosses a lot easier. We also pledged to Oxenfordshire, which will be the next arc we will be doing. But before I head over there, I do a quest that Ronvi gives us, and she ends up cheating on her brother with us. So yeah, Ronvi is officially for the streets. After me and Ronvi get it down, we wake up and I decide to go for a collectible I see near me in a cave. I head back to Ravensthorpe and build Valka's hut while I'm there. After I build her hut, she gives us a quest to go find some plants for a potion. And honestly, you will not believe this shit. When you drink the potion that Valka makes, you get teleported to freaking Asgard. And come to find out, Asgard literally has their own arc in this game. So honestly, I was very excited to do this. For the rest of the hour, we play the Asgard arc portion of the game, and it's honestly one of my favorite arcs in this game. We also finish hour 10 upgrading a few of my skills. Hour 11, we are still in the Asgard arc. Nothing really interesting happens until about 30 minutes in. We get into a boss fight with the Lost Wolf, and I make easy work of this boss fight with some of the abilities I use on my bow and arrow. I'm gonna preach this all video. I do not care what you say. If you are playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla and trying to get the platinum, please use the bow and arrow. It is literally the most overpowered thing I've ever used with the right abilities. For the rest of the hour, we didn't really do anything interesting. We were kind of just cleaning up the last few missions for the Asgard arc. The beginning of hour 12, we start the last mission of the Asgard arc, and we fight the builder, who, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea who that is. I kind of really was just not paying attention to the storyline whatsoever. But hey, we're not here to do storytelling. We're here to complete this game as quick as possible. But I will say, I was kind of struggling with him. But once I got his patterns down, the fight only really took me like 8 or so minutes. Right after the boss fight, I knew I had 2 more missions I had to do in Asgard, which I will find out eventually later that they aren't even available until later on in the story. So I head back to Ravensthorpe to start another mission, which I originally thought it was for the Asgard arc, but it turns out it was literally DLC. And so for the next 16 minutes, I waste my time doing DLC instead of playing the actual damn main game. I told you guys in the beginning of the video, it would be like this, where I just waste unnecessary time, and here's a great example of that, where I waste my time on a boss that didn't even matter. I come back after wasting 16 minutes of my life doing pointless DLC that will literally get me nowhere in life. And for the rest of hour 12, I decided I was just going to work on the Oxenfordshire arc, finishing the first mission of that storyline to end hour 12. From hour 13 to hour 14, we worked on the Oxenfordshire storyline, and we pretty much got it done in like an hour 20. There wasn't really anything interesting other than the same format they've been using for every storyline, which you guys will notice throughout the video is a very common theme in this game, that they will just constantly reuse the same format. After finishing the last mission of Oxenfordshire, we head back to Ravensthorpe so we can report to Randvi. While we were there, I decided to enhance my bow to a flawless bow with some of the stuff I've looted while playing. I also decided to enhance my axe so we can upgrade it a little bit more. And I decided with the resources I have, I decided to upgrade my bow so we can add extra 6 damage. We go ahead and pledge to the next region, but before I go over there, I try to do some quests so that I'm not as under leveled. So I go ahead and upgrade a few things in my settlement, then we go ahead and do one of the Hytham's quests, and once we complete the quest, he tells us about the Order. The Order is a group of people that we are tasked with assassinating. In order to find where these people are, we need to assassinate other targets to get clues, or you could just go find clues in random spots of the world. There's a total of 45 members of the Order that we need to assassinate for the Platinum Trophy. So I decided to go ahead and assassinate Kendall, who's one of the zealots we need and will help us get a clue for the other members of the Order. And of course, like the unprepared person I am, I did not get any arrows, so this fight took a little longer than it should have just because I had no arrows. During hour 15, we went ahead and started the next region. I was a little bit under leveled, but we still managed to get by the missions without too much struggle. We also have been getting wealth, which is one of the collectibles we need for the Platinum Trophy. So I've just been getting some while completing these quests, so we save a little bit of time later. About halfway through hour 16, we start the final mission for this region. But once we finish this raid on the castle, we get a bit of a plot twist. Now, I haven't really been paying attention attention to the story because I've been skipping all the cutscenes, but I'm also somewhat aware of what's going on. We get into a boss fight with Ivar, who was our ally, and I won't lie, this was probably the hardest boss fight I had to do in this game from what I remember. And the reason why it was the hardest was because this guy could block my arrows every time I would shoot at him. So fighting him was a little bit more difficult than I like, but the way I beat him was by using my bull rush ability. It did a lot of damage and it was also unblockable, but before that, this guy was kicking my ass, dude. But yeah, we died a few times and the fight took us maybe like 25 minutes after all the deaths. After completing that region, I went ahead and decided to do some of the collectible hunting so we have less to deal with later on. And so I went back to Norway to start doing some cleanup in the beginning region, and I get introduced to flighting. Flighting is basically just roast battles, but the Viking version of it. And I'm not gonna lie, some of the stuff they say is super weird but also kind of funny. I do end up getting my ass kicked because I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm gonna come back to that later. I decided to head back to England after about 30 minutes of collectible hunting at Norway, and instead I decided to take on one of the regions with the most collectibles. And literally the first thing I do is to do a pointless side quest that doesn't even add to the trophy count. But after completing that quest, we do unlock a wolf, so that's cool, I guess. And for the rest of the hour, I get accustomed to the type of collectibles we need to be getting, and one of them we have to do a lot is mysteries. Mysteries are basically miniature side quests, and one of the mysteries are animus anomalies. Animus anomalies are just basically parkour puzzles, and they're pretty annoying later on, but this first one that we did wasn't really too annoying, and once we complete the first one, we unlock a trophy for completing our first animus anomaly. Yeah, so I just realized it has literally been 7 hours since I got a trophy, which is actually crazy. For the rest of the hour, I was doing collectibles, and I ended up taking out another Order of the Ancient Zealot to end hour 17. Hour 18 was honestly a whole nothing burger up until the last 10 minutes. We get introduced to cairns. Cairns are basically a mini game where you need to stack rocks and balance them and reach a certain height without them falling. If you've never played this game before, you will not understand how annoying these challenges actually are. Listen, all I'm going to say is, somebody definitely pissed somebody off at Ubisoft, because there's literally no way they did this and thought, oh, this is going to be a fun challenge for the consumer. Like, this is not fun at all. This is the worst experience I've had playing a video game ever. This one was pretty easy, but later on, you'll see how annoying they can really get. I mean, I literally spent 45 freaking minutes on just one of these. And then we start off hour 19 taking on another Order of the Ancient Zealot. About a few minutes later, I go ahead and complete a world event, which then unlocked me a trophy for completing 10 world events. But honestly, seeing this trophy made me pretty upset because that just means we have so much more left to go. Continuing on hour 19, we are finishing up this region, which has taken us about a few hours, but to be fair, it is the biggest region in the game. We also do a standing stone puzzle, which you just have to line up at a certain angle to make a symbol out of the stones, which then unlocks our 10th trophy of the game. In the last 30 minutes of hour 19, we end up finishing all the collectibles in this region except one because I needed a higher charisma level, which is earned by fighting. So I'm going to come back to that one later once I do a little bit more fighting in other regions, but we pretty much did everything in that region to finish off hour 19. To begin hour 20, we head back to Ravensthorpe to regroup, and I have 15 skill points to use after completing that entire region, and I also decided to enhance my shield. We go ahead and pledge to London and start making our way there to start the next arc, and not even an hour later, we literally finished the London arc, which then unlocks us another trophy. So I guess you could say I'm pretty good at this whole speedrunning thing. During hour 21, we start the Scent region. Now, I said I wanted to complete the story in under 30 hours, and I'm honestly kind of worried because we are at hour 21 and we still have plenty of regions to go. So if we don't finish all of these before hour 30, we literally might be in trouble. So we really do need to pick up the pace. Hour 22, we are still in the Scent region, about halfway done with the missions in this arc, and you'll start to notice that as I'm going, I'm doing any collectibles that are on the way to some of the mission markers, and it's just something I do so I can save any time possible. But around the beginning of hour 23, we end up finishing the Scent region. Nothing really interesting happens, but we do get a trophy for completing this arc. We head back to Ravensthorpe to report on Scent, and Dad gets mad at us because we took the last Hot Pocket, and so he wants to fight to the death over it, I guess. I don't know, fighting over fruit is kind of crazy, but we make quick work of him, and it cuts to us being at his grave. Rest in peace, Dag. Sorry for taking the last Hot Pocket. From hour 23 to hour 24, we work on the Essex region, where there isn't really much to say about this region. It was pretty short, but we finished it a little bit before hour 25. From hour 25 to hour 26, we work on the Sussex region, and near the beginning of hour 26, we do the final mission taking out Folk, who was a member of the Order of the Ancients, by the way. Her boss fight was light work. She was kind of annoying turning off the lights and stuff. Like, if you don't want to look at me, just put a bag over my head. But once I delete... Why did I just say delete? What I meant was, once I defeat her, I spawn outside the castle and I literally get killed within like 1 second. Like, I don't think I was even out of the freaking cutscene when I got killed, bro. Once I spawn back and take out the guards that unfairly killed me, we end up finishing the South Sex region about 26.5 hours in, and we unlock a trophy for that. Right after that trophy, I also unlock another trophy for equipping all of my abilities. To be honest, I already knew about this trophy. I was just waiting for the perfect time to pop it. During hour 26, we also upgraded a few things in our settlement, which then upgraded our settlement level to level 5, which is only one more level away from the trophy. And it doesn't sound too bad, but we will have to find out later on that it is way more grindier than I anticipated. From the rest of hour 26 to the beginning of hour 28, we worked and finished the Lincolnshire region. I didn't really get too much footage, but it was one of the last of the longer regions we had to do, which means every region we do from now on won't take us as much time since they mostly have only 6 or less missions per region. During hour 28, we start the Gloucester region, and on the way to the first mission, we take out another Order of the Ancient Zealot. During hour 29, I decided to backtrack a little bit and get the collectibles for another region, so then I have a little bit more power going into Gloucester. While trying to complete the region, I come across a mystery I've never seen before, and it gives off pretty creepy vibes, but I decided to interact with it, and it spawns us a boss fight with a witch. Now, when I say this witch is the biggest pain in my ass, I mean it. Like, I literally could not hit her because she kept moving from my arrows, and it made me want to throw my controller through a door. But after finally defeating her, we get rewarded with a trophy. For the rest of hour 29, I go fishing to get enough bullheads for an offering altar, which is another one of the mysteries we need to do. Hour 30, we are still fishing because apparently somebody at Ubisoft thought it was funny getting 10 bullheads for an offering altar. So yeah, I guess they thought that was a great idea, right? Like, it's literally taking me an hour just to get all these fish because they just do not spawn. And then when they do spawn, it's not even the right fish. So yeah, Ubisoft has officially been pissing me off this entire time now. We end up finishing the region with the offering altar being the last thing that I needed to do, so I decided it's time to finally head to Gloucester and continue on with the story. Now, I mentioned earlier on in the video I would like to complete the story in 30 hours or less, and obviously you guys can see I haven't done that yet, but realistically we have not been doing the story the entire time. I would say I've dedicated at least 4 to 5 hours to just collectible hunting, so if I'm right, we are still only 26 hours into the story, and we have about 4 or 5 more hours until we aren't on pace on getting the platinum trophy. From hour 30 to hour 31, we end up finishing this region and its missions. Pretty standard few missions and an easy boss fight at the end. After finishing that arc, we head back to pledge to another region, and we decide to pledge to Snottingham, which has about 7 missions to do, and at this rate we could probably be done with it in about an hour and a half. For the rest of hour 31, we try to finish these missions as quick as we possibly can, but we start off hour 32 with a trophy. And for the trophy we unlock is for using a mastery skill point, which is basically one skill point you can use to improve a statistic drastically. And if you've been paying attention, you'll know I obviously went with the one that upgrades my range damage, and so that unlocks us a trophy. After that, we continue on again to a boss fight with Hamming Jarl, and I have honestly no idea who it is. I'm not even paying attention to the game. But as of now, the rest of the game will be on the easiest difficulty just because we are trying to speedrun it and not complete it on the hardest difficulty. Hopefully that isn't something that will bother you guys, but if it does, please let me know in the comments for future reference. So I hope you guys understand, and let me know if you guys have any disagreements. We end up finishing Snottingham in about less than an hour, which I think really helps us cut down any time we lost earlier on. I head back to pledge to a new region, and for some reason it didn't show me any new regions to pledge to, and so instead of looking up what to do next, I decided to waste my time by going to a DLC map again, because I thought that's what I had to go do again, which basically made the time we made up earlier not matter. So yeah, a pro gamer moment right there. After finding out how to finally get on track with the story missions, we spent hour 33 in Jotunheim, and around near the hour 33 we start the final mission, which we get into a boss fight with Loki, which really surprised me because I didn't think we were actually going to get into a fight with him, but we make quick work of him to end off hour 33. Right after that, we start off hour 34 heading back to Asgard because we unlocked an extra 2 missions that we can go ahead and do. And one of the missions, we get to fight Fenrir, which is a giant ass wolf. And I know I've said this plenty of times in this video before, but this boss fight was by far the longest and hardest one I had to do so far. But it was also by far the coolest one. I mean, like, they did amazing on this boss fight. But once we finish that fight, we finish the final quest in Asgard, and we unlock a trophy for finishing both stories in Asgard and Jotunheim. After we finish that, we head back to start another arc, and we go ahead and start the Jorvik arc. And between hour 34 and the beginning of hour 35, we end up finishing the Jorvik arc. It really didn't take that long. It was a pretty short region. It was actually just a city, and there was not that many missions, so it really did not take that long, and I'm actually kind of glad we finished it that quickly. Hour 35, we have about a few more regions left, and we're officially over the 30-hour deadline for completing the story. And it's got me a little bit worried, because if we couldn't complete the story in 30 hours, I don't know what makes me think I can get over 700 collectibles in about 40 hours. So we really do need to pick up the pace and try to get everything done in under 40 hours, because if not, I cannot see a chance that we get this platinum in under 80 hours. And honestly, it's got me very worried. During hour 35, we also maxed out our bow, and it's literally been the same bow I've been using all game, and it's just that overpowered. But when I do give it its final upgrade, we actually unlock a trophy for fully maxing out a piece of our equipment. And ending off hour 35, we finished the second to last mission of our region, leaving us with not much left to do. And in the beginning of hour 36, we do end up finishing the last 2 missions of this region, leaving us with about 3 to 4 regions left in the main story. Hour 37 starts off with us working on the Winchester arc, doing a mission that requires us to take out the Quill, who is a member of the Order of the Ancients. After that mission, we have to take out another Order member named the Sikhs, and after taking him out, we basically finish the Winchester region and have to report back. But as I'm doing that, my game fucking crashes for no damn reason, bro. After loading back up, we get set back about a few minutes, which is pretty annoying, but it's whatever. We just gotta move on with it. But once we report back, we unlock the trophy for completing the Winchester arc. I also revealed a few Order of the Ancients members while playing, so I decided to take one of them out and return some of the medals I got from the other ones to hide them, which then unlocked me some abilities I'm pretty much never going to use. And to end off hour 37, we decided to pledge to Vinland, which is a completely separate region from England, and it only has about like 3 or so missions to do, so it's a pretty short arc. And so we set sail for Vinland, which then unlocks us a trophy once we reach Vinland. Hour 38, we start the Vinland arc, and then we literally finish it within 25 minutes, which is crazy because I thought I was going to be there at least 45 minutes, but we ended up doing it actually pretty quickly. We head back to report about Vinland, and once again, I get stuck on what to do next, so I decided to go check the letters in my bedroom, since that's what people said to do if the next region does not pop up. I also decided to head back to Norway and see if any missions popped up, and they did not. But once I head back to get a mission from Sigurd, which is one of the last missions in the entire story, he tells us that we are going to Valhalla, and I have no idea what that even means, but I'm gonna go with it, and so we head back to Norway to do the final mission. Hour 39 starts off with us in the middle of the final mission facing off against Basim, who I guess betrayed us. Like I said a million times, I have not been paying attention to the story whatsoever. He didn't have a health bar either, so I didn't know how much damage I had to do, which was pretty annoying to do. After defeating Basim, we get a cutscene with Sigurd, and after that cutscene, we unlock a trophy for completing the Prophecy storyline, which is just one of the 2 storylines we have to complete. After we complete the Hordeflake region, we head back to pledge to the last region of the game, and after we complete this storyline, we are finished with the main story and get to move on with the collectibles. And literally one of the most annoying things in this game is the horse. I mean, like, look at this. Why the fuck can I not get on my horse? It's by far the worst thing in this game that has been frustrating me the entire time I've been playing. But we do the final main storyline boss of the game to end off hour 39, and in the beginning of the 40th hour, about 7 minutes in, we finish the last region and unlock the last trophy of the game. Now that we are done with the main story, we need to lock in and focus on the cleanup. First, I'm going to worry about the collectibles and do whatever I can to save some time for the trophies later on, including the trophy that requires us to be 19 Prologue players. Prologue is a turn-based dice game where the whole objective of the game is to get your opponent's health to 0. I go ahead and try it at Ravensthorpe for the first time to see if I can beat it first try to save some time, and yeah, I got absolutely destroyed. Hopefully later on I can figure out some strategy for this game so it won't be a problem later on. For hour 40, we decided to work on the Oxenfordshire region, which starts off with us taking out horse stuff from the Order of the Ancients. It's all going to be mostly the same thing for every region. I'm going to try to make it as interesting as possible, but it's hard to make something interesting that was uninteresting while playing it. The only real interesting thing that happened was this mystery I ran into, which are mini boss fights, and they're usually oversized wildlife, and you guys will see later on we run into a lot of these, and they are different animals each time. For this one, we had 3 wolves that for some reason do so much damage, like you literally cannot get hit and you will die. During hour 41, we end up finishing the Oxenfordshire region. We also do an Animus Anomaly, which I was struggling with because I cannot stand puzzles. I'm so bad at puzzles. It's not even like funny. So what I did was I ended up watching a YouTube video on how to do it, if I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if that's like against the rules or something. I don't know. Wait, I make up the rules. I don't know why I'm talking about rules when I literally, it's my video. What the fuck? Anyways, after about an hour and a half, we end up finishing the Oxenfordshire region except for the Zealot, but I did end up taking them out because I was already nearby. Hour Hour 42, we start working on the Sussex region. We end up finding a Hidden Ones Bureau, which is such a pain to get into because everything in there is hidden and meant to be deceiving, but once we get in there, we get the collectibles that are in there. We also end up fighting another witch, and that ended up being a little bit more easier than the first witch we fought. But after we fight this witch, we get an item called Thor's Gauntlets, which later on we will need a full set of Thor armor to get a trophy, but that's for later on in the video. We then also take out another Order of the Ancients. We do another Animus Anomaly, and we fight this wolf that literally kicked my ass multiple times to end off Hour 42. We finish the Sussex region and start the East Anglia region, and I try to go get this armor, but for some reason I cannot access it. I put 2 blades into this stone, for some reason it does not let me access the collectible. Come to find out, I need to take out the 3rd and final witch in order to access this collectible, so I'm going to come back to this one later when I get the last blade. One of the artifacts in the game are curse symbols, which are just cursed skulls that you need to destroy to uncurse the land, I guess. And once you get 10 of them, you unlock a trophy for that. After that, I went ahead and fought the last and final witch, and I ended up getting their blade, which I can insert into the stone to get that last collectible, which I will go back for later. We end up doing another stone cairn, which was pretty easy, and then I unlocked another trophy for completing 3 of those. But there are a lot more than 3 of them, and some of them are way more harder than others, which later you guys will see the pain it caused me. We then do another mystery where I take a mushroom and I have to complete a puzzle. It's basically just an acid trip if I'm gonna be honest. And then we end up doing a Treasures of the Britain mystery, which are basically just trials you have to go through to get some loot, but that loot we will be getting is important later on for another trophy. We start Hour 44 doing a standing stone puzzle, and about 10 minutes later we end up doing everything in the East Anglia arc except one thing, and that was for the treasure we had to come back later for after we took out the last witch. We head back there and put the final blade into the stone, and we probably get the coolest piece of gear in the game, and that's Thor's helmet, which then also unlocks us a trophy, which also is very important for a trophy later on. After that, we start the next region and we have to fish again for an offering altar, and once I'm finished fishing, we go ahead and take out another zealot while on the way to the offering altar to finish off Hour 44. Hour 45, nothing interesting happens other than this giant ass bear we had to fight. Hour 46, we start off with an Animus Anomaly, and then about 20 minutes later we trip on some more acid. Then after that, we go ahead and do another rock cairn. This one was pretty difficult and it made me want to throw my controller, not gonna lie, but it only took me about like 10 minutes to do, so it wasn't that bad. And with about 12 minutes to spare before Hour 47, we end up finishing this region fully. Hour 47, we work on the next region. I don't have too much footage other than the end of Hour 47. I'm doing another Treasures of the Britain trial run and I get glitched out. I mean, like, come on, this game has been out for fucking 5 years and there's stupid glitches like this in the game still. And it ends up killing me and I have to restart the entire trial again, bro. Like, come on. Hour 48, we clean up a bit of the Scent region doing some raids and other stuff, and about 21 minutes into Hour 48, we finish the Scent region. We start the next region with a mystery that requires us to save some cats that are trapped, and I accidentally end up killing them. So yeah, we're shit, pretty much. We do another animal boss fight and get our asses clapped, but I came back for some revenge and clapped that wolf's cheeks to end Hour 48. Hour 49, we work on the Lincolnshire region. We take out another Order of the Ancients member, we complete a raid, and after we complete the final role event here, we complete the Lincolnshire region and we can move on to the next region. I don't know why I said region so many times in that sentence. I'm so sorry, I keep repeating it. We reach Hour 50 and we are on very good pace to getting this platinum in under 80 hours. I decided to work on the Essex region next, and while there wasn't much to show off in this hour, I caught the perfect opportunity to go for the Silent Viking trophy that requires us to assassinate 10 enemies in a row without triggering conflict. I mean, literally everyone was facing away from me, so I honestly couldn't have seen a better opportunity to try and unlock this trophy. And after assassinating 10 enemies, we do unlock this trophy. We finished the Essex region about 16 minutes into Hour 51, and we start off the next region fighting a bull. Then we completed Treasures of Britain, and after that we take out another Order of the Ancients member. That's just some stuff to highlight Hour 51. There wasn't really anything else that's interesting other than that. I do a rock cairn, and I swear every time I'm about to do one of these, I pray they aren't difficult, and this one only took me about 3 minutes to do, so I'm thankful it was not that bad. We finished Sussex about 50 minutes into Hour 52. Then I decided to head over to Norway to do the Hordeflake and the other region there, and I ran into an interesting mission where this couple is struggling to, I guess, get it on, and the only way they can get into the quote-unquote mood is by raiding. I don't know, I'm trying so hard to sugarcoat this without this video getting taken down off YouTube. Basically, they want me to set the place on fire and destroy stuff so they can get turned on, and I think this is by far the most funniest world event in the game. I just had a blast, and I thought it was very, very funny. Hour 53, we work on the Hordeflake region. We take out a Drengar, who is just another boss fight in a away. And oh man, I absolutely destroyed this dude by just throwing him off a cliff. That was insane. Then after that, I went ahead and took on a giant ass polar bear. We did an animus anomaly as well, and about halfway through hour 53, we finished the Horde-like region. Hour 54, we do another Drengar boss fight, another wildlife boss fight, and we also try to win a game of Prologue using a strategy where we try to get as many god favor tokens as we can to deal as much damage as we can. And to my surprise, it actually worked and we won. So this really gives me some confidence for later on when we have to win all 19 games. Hour 55, we play another Prologue game, and for some reason I was struggling to beat this guy. Like, he just kept whipping my ass even with the strategy I was doing. But after a few attempts, we do beat him, and it did take me like 30 minutes or so to do, which isn't good for us. We do end up finishing the Norway region, which means we don't have to go back there for a while. I head back to start another region, and we take out another Drengar boss fight. And while I'm there, I decided that I should try to get this one trophy where we need to light all the braziers on a wall. And after I do all that, I don't unlock the trophy actually, but for some reason, instead of wasting time, I'm just gonna come back later. And to end off hour 57, we finish another animus anomaly. Remember earlier how I talked about how there are some easy stone cairns and hard ones? Well, here we are. This is literally the biggest pain in my ass in this game. I was literally struggling for a good 45 minutes to try to get this cairn done. I was struggling to even just to get all the rocks to balance, and then once I finally do get them to all balance, the damn tower isn't even tall enough, which means I need to do it all again and position the rocks differently to get the tower to be tall enough. So yeah, that's pretty much the highlight of hour 58. We were doing a cairn for the entire fucking hour. After that, I start the Jorvik region during hour 59. It's more of a smaller region because it's more of a city than an actual region, meaning it won't take as long as the other regions. And to end off hour 59, we take out another Zealot. There wasn't really too much entertaining in this hour, more just getting collectibles and doing the basic stuff we've been doing for the last 19 hours. So hour 60 wasn't really too interesting, more of the same, but we do end up finishing the Gloucester region in the beginning of hour 61. Hour 61, I start another region, but then I also assassinate Order of the Ancients member, and then later on in the hour I take out another Zealot. Hour 62 to 63, we work on one of the last regions we have left. We end up taking out another legendary animal, another standing stone puzzle, a raid, and then we end up finishing this region a little bit before hour 64. Hour 64, we end up completing the Winchester region about 30 minutes into hour 64. And then we ended up having to do another stone cairn, which took about 16 minutes, and I'm honestly kind of bailed because I have no idea how in the world this even bounds at the end of the day. Hour 65 to 66, we end up just cleaning up whatever is remaining in England so then we can move on to the last 3 regions of the game. After that, we go to the Vinland region to complete all the collectibles there. There really isn't much there, but since we don't have a horse, traversing the map was a little bit more difficult, but we end up fighting the last legendary animal in the game, which then unlocks us a trophy for completing all the legendary animal boss fights. And after that, we complete Vinland in the beginning of hour 67. After that, we start Asgard and Jotunheim, which are the last 2 regions we need for the most grindiest trophy in the game. And it's literally been the trophy we've been working for since hour 40. And after about an hour, we do end up finishing Asgard in the beginning of hour 68. In Jotunheim, we start off with a stone cairn, and I will say Jotunheim is probably one of the more annoying locations to get collectibles because of all the rough terrain and all the collectibles you have to go get in the city. So this will take a little bit longer, which I'm not a fan of since our deadline is in basically 10 hours, so we really got to lock in, or I gotta squeeze lemon into my eyes, and that's not fun. After that, we fight a legendary animal, which is weird because I thought the one we fought earlier was the last one since we unlocked the trophy, but I guess not. And then after that, I guess we gotta start flighting with a talking squirrel, I guess. But after we beat the squirrel, we unlock a trophy for finishing all the flightings. And after about 30 hours of non-stop collectible hunting in over 20 different regions in one of the biggest maps of all of gaming history, we finally get the trophy for completing every territory in the game, and we do it as we hit hour 70. Now that we are finished with all the collectibles, we need to move on and clean up the rest of the game. And as something to give me a little motivation and put some stress on me, I'm going to be covering up the timer up until I get the platinum trophy. So neither you and I will be able to see if I get the platinum trophy in under 80 hours until I actually get the trophy. The first thing I go ahead and do is try and take out every Order of the Ancients member, and I start off by taking out any Zealots I miss while getting collectibles. Now, I said earlier that you get clues from killing Zealots, but you also have to get clues from other places to reveal the hierarchy. But what I did instead was I looked up the location of each member that I still needed, and I would just go to that location and try my best to find them, which would save me some time. And so then I don't have to go ahead and look for each clue. I can just randomly guess on which one's the member, and pretty much that's what I would do, and most of the time it would work. And after about 2 hours just looking up the location of each member, we end up finding out that the leader was King Alfred the entire time, which his name seems familiar, but I honestly don't really remember who he was because like I said a million times, I did not pay attention to the story at all. But after a short cutscene, we get what we're here for and we get that trophy. After that, I started working towards catching every fish in the game, and finding out where they are really isn't too hard. I just looked up the location for each one, but I did run into an issue later on where I couldn't figure out which fish I didn't have after the trophy did not pop. I looked over the list and it turns out I was missing a halibut, which once I caught one, the trophy did pop, so thank God it was not glitched. After that, I went ahead and tried to get my settlement to level 6, but I didn't have enough supplies just from the raids I had to do early on, so I had to go back and get some of the chests at the monasteries that I left earlier on. And I wish I knew about this, otherwise I would have gone more as we would have went by, and we could have saved a lot more time if we just thought about it earlier. And after about an hour of going through some old raid locations that we probably shouldn't have had to in the first place, we get enough to upgrade the last building in our settlement and we unlock that trophy. After that, we move on to the Prologue players. Now, there are 19 of them that we had to beat, but I was thinking 3 steps ahead. Earlier on, when I was taking out the Order of the Ancients members, most of the places I had to go to had an Prologue player there already. So as I was doing that, I was also playing Prologue players, so I wouldn't have to come back later. You cannot tell me that's not a 200 IQ play right there. And once I beat the final one, we unlocked the trophy for beating them all. After that, we went ahead and went for the Overdesign 2 trophy, which required us to defeat 3 hard difficulty soldiers without breaking their shields. This trophy seemed intimidating at first, but it was pretty easy with the spot I was at. All I did was set myself up on fire, and then I would just shoot them once each, and I unlocked the trophy pretty easily. After that trophy, I went ahead and turned in some artifacts I collected while I was completing every region, which then unlocked me another trophy. Then right after that, I got a trophy for placing an item on each settlement cosmetic spot. If you guys haven't noticed by now, I haven't been using any of my skill points pretty much since I finished the story, and that's mainly to see how many we can accumulate. It was probably a dumb idea, but it was just for shits and giggles. And we ended up accumulating a total of 214 skill points that we can finally use, and then we unlocked the trophy for reaching power level 280. And then we unlocked the trophy for completing 5 treasure hoards. Then I went ahead and got a firefly so that I can go ahead and release it in my settlement to unlock another trophy. Earlier on, I mentioned that we had to light some braziers, and I couldn't figure out how to do it, so I went ahead and looked up a video, and I guess I did miss one brazier. After that, I went back to Norway so that I can slide 150 meters in the snow. After that, I went ahead and unlocked the trophy for successfully passing close to a guard in a distressed area by blending with a group of monks. After that trophy, I unlocked another one for ramming and destroying 5 boats in under 2 minutes. And then we also unlock another trophy for getting thrown 30 meters away by a destroyer. After that trophy, we assassinate an enemy from our horse to unlock another one. And then we pull out this giant sword from this stone, which then unlocks us another trophy, which I think this is a pretty cool like Easter egg. Then after that trophy, we head back to Norway so then we can go get Thor's hammer, which is also a really cool Easter egg. And I kind of wish I knew about this earlier so I would have been able to use it throughout the game, but it is what it is, but we get a trophy for that. And then after that, we had to go swim 3 kilometers with our horse, which didn't take as long as I expected it to take. Alright, so we got one more trophy left. It's a picture of Grace where we have to run through 30 breakable objects. It's a pretty easy trophy, and there it is actually. So we got that trophy. And now we got the Platinum Viking Legend. Oh my god. It felt like an eternity till I was going to get this one, and we finally friggin' got it. Now here's the thing, did we platinum it in under 80 hours? Am I gonna have to squeeze lemons into my eyes? I'm gonna unveil the timer right now, and oh my god, we platinum Assassin's Creed Valhalla in under 80 hours. Our official time is 77 hours and 3 minutes. Oh my god, I surely thought I was gonna be at like 81 hours. Like, I thought there was no way in hell. Like, at 70 hours I was like, yeah, there's no way that I'm gonna be doing this in under 80, and we got it in 77. That's crazy. Oh my god, I'm actually very happy that I got it. I don't have to squeeze lemon in my eyes, thank god. And just so you guys don't think I'm lying here, it shows that I actually completed the game in 78 hours. So I'm not pulling a fast one. I don't know why it's a 78. I probably left the game on when I went to the bathroom or something, but I don't think it's a big deal. It's under 80. Realistically, in game it said I completed it in like 75 hours of gameplay, so it's a little bit less than what it says on the actual timer. If you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. This video took me, I would say, maybe like 200 hours to make. I mean, the game itself literally took 77 hours, and then editing it into a 40-minute video took me probably longer. I would say actually around the same time. So it took me around 140 hours to make this video. So I would really like greatly like truly appreciate it if you guys would subscribe, like, and even just comment anything. Like I really would appreciate it, because this video is probably my biggest project since, honestly, I could probably even say it's bigger than the every Far Cry game and GTA. I genuinely like. So yeah, I really would appreciate it, guys, because my mental health is not okay. I need like a day of break or something. But yeah, next video is gonna be a good one, guys. I will see you then. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it.